All right, Lights, Camera, Barstool, our 5 movie picks of the week drops here every Wednesday. We lead into the weekend of September 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 2023. Jeff D. Ken Jack, Gooch.
Yep.
5 picks. We'll give you our ratings, our streaming services where you can find these movies. I'll start it off. We'll get right into it. A couple weeks ago, I tweeted out the best movie from every decade, and I tweeted about Seven Samurai, and somebody in my replies mentioned a great comment. I'll start off first. Somebody said, old movie, really long, black and white. Like, should I really take the plunge? And someone said, there's other Akira Kurosawa movies to maybe start with first to ease your way into Seven Samurai. I'm like, that's actually not a bad take at all. So I'm going to pick The Hidden Fortress, which is streaming on HBO's Max. I'm not just going to call it Max.
New Hope.
95 out of 100 for me. The definition of an adventure epic. We just talked about Ahsoka the other day in Star Wars. Star Wars, ever since the first movie, has taken from Akira Kurosawa Seven Samurai, especially Hidden Fortress. If you watch Hidden Fortress, you've never seen Hidden Fortress before, but you've seen Star Wars, you're going to be like, wait, what the fuck?
This is Star Wars.
So many things that you're going to take from it. And that's any movie, any adventure epic, any fight scene. It's just amazing. It's one of the most influential pieces of anything made media-wise. And it's just a fucking awesome movie. So Hidden Fortress, 95 out of 100, streaming on Max. Ken Jack.
I'm going to start with U571. It's a U-boat movie starring Matthew McConaughey that I used to watch on FX all the time.
What is this movie?
U571.
Okay, I didn't hear the title.
U-571. It's this old world. It's not old. It's like from the early 2000s.
Yeah, that was definitely before SEO became a thing.
Yeah. It's like a submarine movie, World War II submarine movie starring Matthew McConaughey that I remember I watched on FX like 1,000 times. Hadn't seen it in forever. It's on Netflix now, and it's not like the best movie in the world by any stretch of the imagination, but it is like a really solid movie.
Yeah.
I'd give it like a 75. We don't have it on movierankings.net, but we'll add it on one day. I really like the movie. The cast is actually like, I think beyond McConaughey is like actually pretty good. 571. Just want to double check that I'm not confusing there. Yeah, McConaughey, Bill Paxton, Harvey Keitel, John Bon Jovi.
Classic Bill Paxton movie. Like just
John Bon Jovi's in it. Thomas Kreischman, who's like the Nazi in every movie. He was just in Indiana Jones. Jake Weber, that's the dude from Dawn of the Dead, the new Dawn of the Dead, the Snyder one. A couple other good actors as well. So like it's again not, it shouldn't be at the top of your list of like movies to go watch or anything like that, but like it's a very entertaining World War II movie if you're looking for one you probably haven't seen before.
Good pick, Gooch.
Nice pick. Never seen it. Never even heard of it, to be honest.
There you go.
This is a movie that most people have heard of and probably have seen, but maybe younger listeners haven't. Saw Bottoms this past weekend, and it immediately reminded me of another movie, Not Another Teen Movie.
Oh yeah,
one of the greatest parody movies of all time. 90 out of 100 for me. This also got brought to my attention too because this morning we got a new trailer for
Biker Gang or whatever.
No, the one with Chris Evans and Emily Blunt,
Hustlers.
Pain Hustlers, and it reminded me that Chris Evans, well, he did do a great job as Captain America, fantastic job. At his core, he's at his best when he's playing an absolute douchebag.
Scott Pilgrim.
And he is
Scott Pilgrim,
so good in Not Another Teen Movie. That movie is so fucking hilarious, and it holds up. A movie that you kind of think wouldn't, but it does.
Who's that actress? Is it Presley
parody.
That's in that?
Jamie Presley.
Jamie Presley. What's she been up to? She was in My Name is Earl. And,
cashing the My Name is Earl checks.
Yeah, and I haven't think I've seen her in anything since.
Well, the Joe Dirt. Wait, yeah, she was in
Joe Dirt. Right?
No, she wasn't Joe Dirt.
Yeah, no, that wasn't her. Fuck, I forget her name. That's Brandy.
She was not Bad Moms. The show with Kat Dennings. Wasn't she in the show with Kat Dennings?
She was.
She was in the show. She was in
Two Broke Girls.
I thought she was in Mom.
Jeff knows what I'm thinking.
What's it called?
Yes, Mom.
Okay. Is it Mom or Moms? With Allison Janney. It's Allison
There's a question
Janney.
for the dozen tomorrow.
That's a good dozen question.
Yeah. Who is in that fucking show? Is it Moms? Wait, we're way off topic here. Well, where's None Other Teen Movie streaming?
On Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Mom. It's singular Mom with Anna Faris and Allison Janney. Yeah. Now Another Teen Movie on Netflix. I'm going to go back to Max, an older late 80s comedy. Great buddy comedy with Nell and I, with Richard E. Grant and Paul McGann. Just fantastic movie. So funny. Just a classic, like, you know, one of those like European, like British comedies. You're like, that's just so not American, and it just has that that funny, great buddy duo vibe to it. I highly suggest you haven't seen it. It's an older movie. I guess older movie in the context that it's not from the 2000s or 2020s. It's not that old. It's from the 80s, but very funny movie. We love Richard E. Grant in this podcast. He's so fucking good in everything he's in. Highly suggest, if you've never seen With Mel and I, it is on Max. One of the better comedies, 95 out of 100 probably ever made. So love it. Good. If you want a good duo comedy, like if it's not like an action comedy, like The Nice Guys, for example, you want to talk about good chemistry. It's more like pure comedy, but yeah, they're a fantastic duo. That's on Max. Ken Jack.
I'm going to go with another kind of, not, I wouldn't say under the radar, but an FX movie that maybe it hasn't been seen a ton, Tears of the Sun on HBO. Bruce Willis, among many other dudes in this action movie set in Africa. They're like a SEAL team that has to like extract a doctor or something before like a genocidal warlord can get there with his troops and kill everybody. It's one of those movies where like it's far from perfect, but for me, it's like a perfect level of like 70 overall. Good action, really good soundtrack, like a banger soundtrack that adds like a lot of emotional depth to certain scenes. And again, one that I think I've seen on FX probably 200 times with my brothers and enjoyed quite a bit. So if you're looking for like an action movie that has a lot of tension, it's not going to be perfect. They're not going to blow your brakes off or anything like that. I would say Tears of the Sun is right there.
Monica Bellucci. You want to talk about what she's been up to? Yeah. Going to be in Beetlejuice 2, apparently.
I think Cole Hauser was in it. A couple other people. I forget.
Cool. Yeah, I did not read that. Yours have a vibe going right now. Very similar types of movies.
It's going to change right after that.
Yeah. Gooch.
I'm gonna keep my vibe going too, because I'm going from one teen comedy to, it's not really a teen comedy, maybe more of a teen satire, dark comedy. Pump Up the Volume, starring Christian Slater from the early 90s. It's never on streaming. This has been bothering me for years. Can never stream it anywhere. It is finally on Max. Not a movie a ton of people have seen, but I really, really like it. 80 out of 100 for me. I might have to revisit it and see if it's even better than I remember, because it kind of deals in like, it's basically like addressing podcasts before they exist. Like this teenager who starts a show on AM radio or whatever, free radio, and it just devolves into madness. I really, really enjoy it. If you kind of like those angsty teen movies from the 80s or the 90s, you will enjoy this. Christian Slater at one point was like kind of a star, and he's great here.
And he was a bad actor, which is the funniest thing about Christian Slater.
The Curb episode where he eats too much caviar. And Larry,
dude, I just restarted Curb with my girlfriend. She's never seen it before. Even right off the bat, man, it's just so goddamn good.
You don't realize, I think, how many of the early Curb episodes were like the most iconic ones. And going through Curb Your Enthusiasm, I think the thing that sticks out the most is you also don't realize how many of the best jokes are just in the same episode. Like, you're like, what the fuck? Exactly. That was in this episode as well. It's crazy.
Calling Cheryl Hitler in front of Jeff's parents. So it's
such a funny show.
It's so good.
My third one, best racing movie ever made, in my opinion, 93 out of 100. It's on Netflix, and that's Rush from Ron Howard. I think the way that movie is shot is absolutely exhilarating. People have been talking about that lately with what you call old iRacing movie, Gran Turismo. It's shot really well. The new Ferrari movie looks cool, even though it's probably less of a racing movie, more about cars. But like a Ford versus Ferrari, that looked incredible. But Rush, to me, is the best looking racing movie. I think it's Hemsworth's like real breakout role. He had to lose all his Thor weight just to fit in the fucking car. That's really when Hemsworth kind of like ascended to like a different level as an actor. And Daniel Bruhl's amazing as well. Based on a true story, Rush is a movie that I think has just never gotten as much love as it probably should. 93 by 100, that's on Netflix. Ken Jack.
I think Niki Lauda, or his estate didn't like the movie for some reason. I don't remember why.
That's weird.
I think they didn't like how Bruhl was portrayed him, or how the movie portrayed him. And then also, didn't Ron Howard make Chris Hemsworth lose all that weight for that Old Man in the Sea ass movie?
Is that what it was, too?
Yeah, he was literally like emaciated for that role. He was like out at sea.
Maybe that's what it was, but I do know that people. I do know that like with his Thor weight and muscles, he could not fit in the cars. They're like, this is a problem.
Yeah. Makes sense. My next one's going to be Hail Caesar on Hulu. 85 out of 100 for me. Very undersung. And I think we just talked about this recently. A very undersung movie from the Coens, and I think it's maybe because it's a little bit of like a split focus all over the place.
Yeah.
But like that definitely hurts in the big grand scheme of things. But I think like production value is awesome. Like you really get into that like like golden age Hollywood sort of stuff. And also just every little side bit character is so funny. And we talk about it every single time we mention this movie. The scene between Alden Ehrenreich and Ray Fiennes is so good. Is word that it twere or whatever. It's just
would it never would.
Would that it
I can't
twere
say it either.
with the accent and everything like that. It's just he's sitting there and it's like slapping him, like telling him to do it right. And like it's just there's so many great funny moments in the movie. Great, like really good acting throughout too. It is definitely a little scatterbrained compared to some of the other Coen Brothers stuff, but I like the movie a ton, and I think it's worth a watch.
I think you both nailed it. The problem with that movie, it gets a little messy. It's like a little too all over the place. But I think if you kind of put that, I think Brolin's amazing. I like Hail Caesar. I've liked it more over the years as I've watched it.
Yes,
I think you go into
same.
that expecting something a little different, and what you get is wacky, but I think it works. I think it's very funny. Very well done. Gooch, you're next.
The scenes with the Communist Party are
Also very good.
Yes. It's so funny.
It's so good.
All right, my next pick, another movie probably a lot of people have seen, but I'm not sure because people have been posting on our subreddit saying they're watching it for the first time because it just hit Netflix. And that's Denis Villeneuve's Arrival.
Great movie.
Fantastic
That's surprising
movie.
people have said that. Wow. But I get that. I wouldn't expect it to make it's not like I love Denis Villeneuve. He ain't raking in the dough though at the box office.
Yeah.
So
It's true.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen like three different people say it, which is shocking. Just a fantastic movie. Just Renner's great, but also Amy Adams just phenomenal. The score is like one of the best from the past decade.
Freaky deaky baby. Not the score, but the shot.
Mean, the sci-fi, Denis Villeneuve, I don't think anyone does sci-fi better than him right
No.
now. Just the way everything looks, the creature builds, the spaceship they come in on, the way they interact with each other. It's just fantastic. And then we talked about it before, but it ties up so nicely at the end. It just hits you like a fucking brick.
I don't know if that's what got him Dune, but it's one of those ones where it's like it makes sense that he did Dune so well because Denis Villeneuve's and Roger Deakins too. Because Deakins obviously didn't do Dune, but like their vision and their way of scale and scope for sci-fi is what makes it so good. It's like it's just I think of the size of the ships in those movies and like the way they're portrayed. I think about that first ship landing on Caladan in Dune. You're just like, what the fuck? Like, is this real? Is it like they just have a way of portraying size and space and ships that is just mind blowing. And that's
very few guys get that too. Mm-hmm. It's like him and Blomkamp and end of list. It's like very few people know how to just get sci-fi effects right.
Yep. My fourth one, I'm going to go with an underrated movie from 2019. It's on Amazon. I gave it an 89 out of 100. I'm going to actually give a rewatch today. I bet I would score it higher. Peanut Butter Falcon. Really, really good, just warm, feel-good movie, kind of adventure tale, really magnetic cast, Shia LaBeouf, Dakota Johnson, and Zach Gossagin, who was actually, he became the first person with Down syndrome to present an Oscar with Shia LaBeouf. If you do remember they were from that movie, Peanut Butter Falcon. It got some love. He also came out with
Honey Boy.
Yeah, I almost called it Old Boy, which is not the same movie.
No.
In theaters right now. It returned to theaters.
Yeah, that's right.
But it is, he had the same movie that year. So he had two movies that year, Shia LaBeouf, that were just pretty fantastic, a little different, but still like kind of in that feel good, almost like the coming of age space. Highly suggest Peanut Butter Falcon. It flew under the radar because it's one of those ones where just when you see it, you'll know why it did. Cause it's like one of those movies where it gets love and gets praise, but it's not high enough to kind of break through the award ceiling, but we'll get maybe like some sprinkles here and there of some praise. Really good movie. It's on Amazon. Ken Jack.
I'll also do an Amazon movie. I'll do The Breakup. I saw The Breakup was on there. That just came in this month. I like The Breakup a lot. And I also think it was two people that were perfectly cast in a role that weirdly had really good chemistry. And it also just serves kind of as a reminder to me, like Vince Vaughn really ran comedy in like as much as you want to think like Will Ferrell with like all these, all the big ones like Anchorman and all that shit, like Will Ferrell was in half those movies and like, he's just there. It was a constant for that decade of 2000 to 2010 and was amazing in all of them. And he was particularly really good in The Breakup because I think this is a movie where obviously he's super funny and perfect in all the comedic parts, but also like the emotional parts, he works well too. He just has that sad face. It just works perfectly when he's a sad guy losing like one of the most attractive actresses in his world as his girlfriend. And I think it's just a really well executed little, I guess like dramedy, I guess you'd call it.
Yeah.
Right. And I like all the little Chicago things they throw in there. Him and all of his like Polish brothers that run the the tourist company and all that shit. I really like the breakup, and I think it's a movie I'm going to rewatch sometime very soon.
Very nice.
Gooch, you're up next.
Next up, it is very tough for me to recommend Wong Kar-wai movies to people, just because it's like one of those random things, but I'm going to do it here. Fallen Angels on HBO Max or Max. 90 out of 100 for me. It is definitely a very artsy movie, but I think it's like one of those rare artsy movies that actually succeeds in like having storylines that you're invested in. Like there's it's pretty much split into two different parts. You have a romance subplot, and then you have like an action hitman subplot, and they work very well tying in together at the end. I loved it. Saw it for the first time earlier this year. It's a movie that honestly, like I said, artistic endeavor. You can watch this with the sound off, read the subtitles. It just looks beautiful. Wong Kar-wai shoots in a very unique way, and he pulls off some shots that are just like incredible to look at.
Mm-hmm. It's a good pick.
Streaming on Max, Fallen Angels, last one. Who Framed Roger Rabbit for me? Disney.
Hell yeah, dude.
90 out of 100. Very impactful movie with how they made the things they made in that movie. I would just watch the movie, which is a great movie, by the way, just in general. Like, I love Who Framed Roger Rabbit. What a great fucking fun time. So many little, like, I mean, Easter eggs before Easter eggs were like a thing. Like, so many things that were woven into the story. How they even got all those characters into it is a whole other thing as well. The behind the scenes in the movie is shocking to watch. You watch that and you're like, how the fuck did they make this movie? Like, how did they, in that time, make these effects, these animations? How did Bob Hoskins, like, it is crazy how they did that.
R.I.P. in peace.
Have you ever seen the Brad Pitt version, the Cool World? Where they tried to do this like a year later, and it's just a complete fucking mess. Like they just didn't even come close.
It is. I don't think you can do it any better. You can maybe clean up some of the effects, but to this day, that movie, the fact that movie holds up is a whole other discussion. Like in terms of visuals and special effects, but just the fact they were able to do the things they did, it is crazy. Look up the behind the scenes of Who Framed Roger Rabbit after watching it. It's mind blowing. It's so impressive.
I'm not bad. I was just drawn this way.
I didn't like the stank
so
you put on that at the end there.
Yeah.
That's how she says it.
yeah. I didn't need a 1-for-1 recreation of it. Ken Jack, last movie.
My last one on Prime Video, Children of Men. Talked about that at basically to no end on this podcast. One of my favorite movies. I love it. It's really one of the cooler and more well put together dystopian movies that you'll ever watch. Like as far as like it feels like there's almost no green screen in it at all. It's like everything is just very real feeling. A lot of really cool like guerrilla kind of shots from I believe it is Quran, right? And also obviously one of the coolest one takes ever in that movie. And the scene where the baby comes out of the building, every time, 100 out of 100 times, I will cry at it. Every single goddamn time. It's so good. Great score, great actors throughout it too. Like you think like it's Clive Owen and that's basically it, right? Like or I guess you could say like I'm trying to think of like who else you would immediately name, but like if you go down the list,
that's a Clive Owen movie, right? Like it is, yeah.
Michael Caine, Julianne Moore, Chiwetel Ejiofor, Charlie Hunnam. Like there's Danny Huston too, our fucking guy. So many different actors in that movie, even if it's in smaller roles. Like Michael Caine was playing a pothead in that movie. It's just a really, really good movie. Super deep, very not deep. Like it's oh my god, no one's ever thought of something like this before. But just like very emotionally, a lot of emotional depth to it. And just a brilliant movie. Really like it a lot. I think I gave it a 95 out of 100 if I remember correctly.
Manuel Lubezki did the cinematography, one of the best ever. Quran is as creative as anybody with just shots and little things he puts into the movie. I mean, whether it be Gravity or Prisoner of Azkaban, he is as creative and unique with his vision as anyone. Yeah, it's awesome. Last one, Cooch.
Dipping back into the 1960s, 1960 to be exact. One of my favorite rom-coms of all time, The Apartment, 5-time Oscar winner. If you like rom-coms and you're looking to get into something older, this is the perfect movie for you. Jack Lemmon, Shirley MacLaine.
Beast.
It's so good. It's shot perfectly. It's written. It's Billy Wilder, just written perfectly. Jack Lemmon's fantastic. I love that movie. I grew up watching a lot of old movies with my dad. I hated a lot of them. They just don't. Sometimes they just don't translate well to modern audiences. The Apartment does not have that issue. It holds up perfectly fine.
Jack Lemmon was such a gem. R.I.P. He was so good in like any movie I think I've ever seen him in. He's been good. Even like Glenn Ross.
Yeah.
Like he's in the movie for like 5 seconds there. Not well, maybe a little
Everybody's
more than that.
in
He's
that
so good. Dude, that movie is so good.
That is.
I don't know what I have it rated. I might even need to bump it up just thinking about it.
Put on next week's
Trophies for closers.
Yeah, those were a great pick there. For me, The 5, The Hidden Fortress on Max, With No Eye on Max, Rush on Netflix, Peanut Butter Falcon on Amazon, Who Framed Roger Rabbit on Disney Plus, from Kenjek, U571 on Netflix, Tears of the Sun on Max, Hail Caesar on Hulu, The Breakup on Amazon Prime, Children of Men on Amazon Prime, None Other Teen Movie on Netflix, Pump Up the Volume on Max, Arrival is on Netflix.
Yep.
Fallen Angels on Max, and The Apartment. Did you say that was on Max as well?
Prime.
Okay.
Prime.
If it's
Optimus
older than
Prime.
1985, I just assume it's on Max. That's like, or Criterion. That's like the two places to find it. Or Mubi.
Yeah, not if fucking who's our guy that we hate, Zaslav, has his way.
Yeah,
that'll be changing sometime soon.
Yeah, or Mubi.
The Sopranos is now on Netflix.
Mubi or Criterion.
Dude, Band of Brothers is on Netflix now.
Yeah, they're leasing out their stuff right
It's
now.
fucking crazy.
That should not. Band of Brothers should not be allowed to be on Netflix.
To be on anywhere.
Think
other
about
than
it. Like
HBO.
that's just stupid. They should put the first episode and then make you go to Max to watch the rest. That's how they should do it.
Exactly.
I don't know why Netflix would agree to that. That's it. Every Wednesday, we'll be tossing out 5 movie picks for you to watch. If you're on YouTube, remember to subscribe, like the video. It helps us out a lot. That's it. Thanks for watching. Talk to you next time.